A young couple travels to a remote island to eat in an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to the first episode, or issue as we like to call it, An Evening with Darkness. My name is Jackson. I'm, of course, from Horror Gang, and if you know me, you know my best friend, my man,
And co-host Hunter. And today we said a little synopsis right there at the beginning. We are going to be talking about the menu from 2022.
Definitely one of my favorite horror films from 2022. Well, my second favorite, personally.
I'd say it's probably my second or third.
I know I've said this before, but my first favorite from 2022 was Nope.
Mm-hmm. I would say that's probably my favorite too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The menu. How did you come to see this or find out about it?
So I originally found out about it from my girlfriend. She has been on the channel, whatever, like that. But she at Film Fest at SCAD, Nicholas Hoult was there promoting and talking about this movie, The Menu. She got to see an early screening of it and then tell me all about it, and then was like, "We have to go see it." I saw it and then I loved it, and then I had to tell you about it because you know.
Yeah, because I felt definitely like me and Jackson have very similar taste in horror movies. We don't really contain ourselves to certain subgenres, and you have like body horror, psychological horror, folklore horror, whatever. We're very we're into everything, and so he saw this and he was like, "This is different, and I think Hunter would like this." And so I didn't know much about this movie until you saw it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah, that when I first went and saw the movie. We'll talk about that in a second, I guess, when we talk about our experience seeing it. Yeah. This movie really just blew me away. A surprise issue or entry.
I remember after you saw it, you were like, Hollywood is in good hands right now, or it's back. It has you said it's really creative again.
Well,
right now.
Hollywood right now is in the past few years, it's not a secret. It's very lacking of originality, creativity. And
superhero blockbuster movies have taken over.
Yeah. Sequels, everybody's like, what's going to make us the most money? Which that's a part of movies. That's a part of productions is how I'll make money. That's why films are made anyways. And Jordan Peele's a very good original director, with Get Out, Us, and Nope, 3 original movies,
We're big fans of Jordan, so
yeah, and Barbarian, another movie that came out horror movie that came out last year that I'm not very comparable to others, by Zach Kreger, and so many others that were great, like X and Pearl, very original. Well, Pearl's not really original; it's the prequel to X, but the stories came out then.
Still great.
Yeah, still great. But I think that's what I remember saying that to you about how creative. There's not really a lot of movies like this. There's social satires, of course, but not done in a way like this. And so that's what I think one of the most surprising things, how well it was shot in the performances from everybody, especially from Anna Taylor-Joy, which we talked a little bit about how she is like the new Scream Queen.
I agree. Like I said, like a new modern horror icon.
Yes.
The Witch, Last Night in Soho. You mentioned
The Northman. Split.
Yeah,
Night Shyamalan Split.
Yeah, exactly. See, the resume just continues to grow. And this is a great entry for her career, and Nicholas Hoult, which I'm excited for. Renfield,
yeah, I'm very excited. He plays Renfield.
Yeah.
And we're coming off hot of The Menu. He's also in one of my favorite movies, Mad Max Fury Road. But the real standout here, I feel like, is Ralph Fiennes, who, if you might know him, he's plays Voldemort.
Yeah.
He's also in the Kingsman series.
He's good at playing villains.
In this movie, it's the most disturbing, off-putting performance.
He's really interesting, though.
Very.
He's really dark and obviously super creepy and stuff. But I want to know more about his past life, and they hint about it.
They hint about it, exactly.
But they never. I guess I don't really want him to do a prequel and explain it or whatever.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not not necessary. But like I said, he's really a interesting character for sure.
Yeah, but even those three are the main Nicholas Hoult, Anna Taylor-Joy, and Ralph Fiennes are the 3 main leads of the story, or the story kind of centers around. It's mostly just Anna Taylor-Joy and the chef, who Ralph Fiennes plays Julian Slowick. I think his name's Slowick, and Nicholas Hoult brings Anna Taylor-Joy on as a date to this remote island where this restaurant where the chef cooks
these exotic
courses, and
like 5-star.
yes,
Like this, like the best of the best is what this is supposed to be. Like it's supposed to be exclusive to
exactly.
like super deserving people, I guess. Like there's a lot of
There's a lot like if you think about this movie is
social
very
commentary
yes,
and stuff. I feel
yeah,
like in this.
exactly. There's a lot of like they make a lot of points to different people. Like you have a movie star or an old movie star who tells
You have like some
he
business
knows everybody.
dudes.
Yeah, he knows everybody. Business dudes.
Nicholas Hoult is he's a big foodie, but
yeah.
he's not an aspiring chef or
No,
anything. But like
he's just a big foodie. He has a palate.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at the beginning of the movie, Anna Taylor-Joy is smoking a cigarette, and he's like, "Put that out. You're going to ruin your palate," which kind of hints at how he goes about the idea of cooking in food, and Anna Taylor-Joy is just going along with it, kind of like a free meal date.
Right.
She's not really into it as everybody else. Then you have a group, an older couple, who have been here. I think it was like 11 times. Hawthorne's the name of the place, and the restaurant, and they've been to Hawthorne about 10 or 11 times, and they've went through meals and courses. And there's another couple who is a food critic, older lady and a older man. I guess he's like a assistant to her.
Yeah.
And she's like apparently closed down a bunch of
from her reviews.
Closed down a bunch of restaurants and whatnot. And then there's the three guys that are kind of like new, like stockmen or stockbroker. Businessmen, like and they're very cocky, young, think they rule the world kind of thing. Have done a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
And you'll eventually before we start really digging into it, I'll say a spoiler alert. So I'll mention that. And then you have the old actor, like I said, who was in past movies, and his assistant, his PA. So, who I guess he's taking this as a road to, because I think he's starting up a new cooking show or whatever, or a challenge, and he's trying to get like a feel of like what the show's gonna be like. Yeah.
But the menu definitely one of the most creative, I feel like, in my opinion, horror movies of 2022 and of the 2020 so far, and of even more, I guess, recent date. But I remember telling Hunter when I first saw it, I was like, it feels like an A24 film, but it's not an A24. It's by Universal, I think, right? I think so. Here.
I want to say Lionsgate. I mean, he's gonna fact check that. I could be wrong. But yeah, so I'll talk about my first time when I went to see this. The first time I saw this. So the first time I'm with my buddy, after Jackson, of course, told me about it. He went with his girlfriend to see it. And we went to a local theater. And I figured this movie wasn't going to get a lot of attention. Especially because, it was decently promoted, but nothing like, how everything else is put out there, like any Marvel movie or action movie. So I was like kind of in my head like, okay, there's not gonna be a lot of people here, and I was right. There was literally just me and my friend, and there's not a lot of experiences where it's literally just you and your friend, or just you, whatever you go by yourself to a movie theater, and there's nobody else in there. It's like a private showing. It was really cool. And so me and my buddy, we were just blown away. The first I'm not gonna get into it yet because I kind of want to wait for that. But it was a really cool experience, and then I went again, with my brother actually, and one of his buddies. So and just watching it a second time and seeing their reactions to it and again, zero crowd, just us three.
Yeah.
And watching their reactions, it became like a really big thing.
I love doing that, like showing somebody a movie or watching a movie with somebody for the first time who hasn't seen like something, like really
hadn't seen the movie.
Right.
In a sense. But now that it is out of theaters, it is now currently on HBO Max, which
it's on like Blu-ray, DVD, stuff too.
Yes.
Whatever.
If you're in physical
media, 4K.
If you're into physical media, it's out everywhere now. I remember it came out on HBO Max. I want to say like late last year, and yeah, and I went to Twitter and it was just like raving about how good it was,
Yeah.
and everybody just started watching it. I'm like, y'all are late, man. Y'all should have seen this in theaters. It's a very, um, it's so good and underrated.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. Super creative. It's dark. Uh, each dish that they bring out it's like something crazier.
Yeah.
At one point, it's almost just like, not to spoil anything, but isn't it just like a rock at something at like one of the dishes, or it's like mostly just a rock, like
No,
it's something like that.
Well, now that might as well just talk
Yeah,
about it.
let's just
Okay, the movie
get
starts
into it.
out. I'm not gonna go scene by scene, but kind of like points that are kind of important, right? And so the movie starts out. They're all getting on a boat to go to this remote island. They go to Hawthorne, and Tyler and I believe at this time her name's Margot, and Margot's Anna Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Holt's Tyler, and they go on a boat. Everybody, all of the guests, go on a boat, and they go to the Hawthorne. And as soon as they arrive, it's kind of just like
Something's off.
something's not right. Well, it's weird, it's not weird. It's different to see like a restaurant like that just on a remote island. It kind of seems a little iffy.
Would you do that?
But they were.
Would you go?
Would I do it? After seeing this movie, I don't know. After seeing this movie, I'm not sure. But they go to this. They go to Hawthorne, and they're greeted by, I forgot her name. She was great in it as well. I guess it's the chef's like assistant, but not really. She greets everybody, gives them their stuff,
Yeah.
and
Shows them to their
shows
table.
yeah, kind of gives them a tour, and you go through their living situation. So the chef lives in this house away from the rest of everybody, this nice normal house, big house, and everybody else lives in this like army base kind of looking thing, very separate beds, not very minimalistic, but they said, I think they believe they said they wake up at like 6 o'clock every day and start preparing meals, which
Yeah.
is crazy. So that's, I mean, it's their life. And then they do a little bit extra, but then they finally get to the restaurant, and this is where it's very normal. The chef kind of is like this like mysterious figure. He's not really Ralph.
They
Ralph,
don't really
yeah,
see much.
yeah.
But like, you can't mess up. Like if you mess up as a chef,
He's very meticulous and very observant, and he's a perfectionist.
yeah,
And so
exactly.
everybody's there, and everybody's like, "Oh, where's the chef?" And Ralph Fiennes enters, and it's just like this. The
Everyone
tone
in the room
switches.
shut up.
Yes,
Like
there's
it's
like
dead
they just,
silent.
there's like,
All
oh,
the
there he
attention is on him. So
Yeah, he just makes his entrance, but it's very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a grand entrance. He's just sitting there working with, we're observing the other cooks, and so then we start to get to the meals. I think there's, let me see, 1, 2, 3. I think maybe 6 courses together total, and then dessert. Five total. I don't know. It's under 7, I think. I don't know, but the first meal I believe was it was like some fish or the chicken.
Yeah.
It's not really important. The meals become more increasingly important. First meal, it was kind of just like a regular main meal, kind of just to get everybody started off. And then everybody's going there about they're having their own conversations. Then the camera, they have this conversation. The way they filmed it is very good. How they tackle every aspect, and Tyler's sitting there. Margot's not really getting what everything's about. She's very, she's just there. You know what I'm saying? I think now I think about it, I think it was like oysters or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. I don't remember.
That was like kind of like an appetizer.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The first plate was called the Island,
Yep.
and that featured.
So why he's figuring that out. But the food it's very fancy food, very small quantity, but very stylized. If you've seen any, go on Google right now, just look up fancy plate or fancy like food. It's exactly what you think it is. But they cook everything, they get everything from the island they're on. All the meat, all the fish, whatever they use, they get it from the island. and which is another good aspect of the movie, which comes into play a little later. Um, but yeah, they go through the menu, the first few courses. And I believe the second course is kind of like a breadless.
A breadless bread plate. So it's
Yeah.
essentially just like crumbs.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
no, well, it's not. Remember, they don't put bread on it. They just put the little like sauces or
oh
whatever.
yeah, that's right.
And everybody's like, they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
They're like, what is this? They're like, you're gonna give us bread without. You're not gonna give us bread.
To like dip it in.
Yeah, and they're like, nope, and like y'all don't deserve bread, which is kind of weird, and or it's what you're expecting, so we're not gonna give you it, and yeah, so they don't get bread, and then after that,
The third course is chicken tacos with scissors in it.
yeah, and this is where it kind of starts turning a little. Well, the first thing starts turning it is the three guys we were talking about earlier, the douchebags. And if you're looking at this the screen right now on the poster we put, it's three guys on the right, and he's also in Top Gun Maverick, one of the guys, and they're hungry because they didn't get no bread, and they're like, hey, can we get like some bread? And the one lady, the chef's assistant, I guess, she's like, no, and they're like, what? And they're like, no, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, it's a part of the experience.
It's a part of the experience, and then it's really cool. The guy drops his napkin, I think, and she picks it up and puts it on his plate or on his lap, and she's like, "You will never be anything,"
Yeah.
or something like that, and it's just really off-putting, and then that's where it kind of takes a turn, and then. But the thing about the chef, he always does. He talks about the story before he gives out the course, the food, and this is where it kind of takes a little bit of a turn when he brings out the chicken with the scissors in it.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is where and one of the funnier parts, he was like, he's sitting there presenting the food. And he goes, yeah, usually on Tuesdays we had tacos, Taco Tuesday, which is a little lighthearted joke, and but he goes to it's like a very lighthearted, like I said, conversation, and he goes to his this lady who's in the corner, which we found out to be his mother, by the way. But it's his mother, and he goes over there, and
Oh yeah.
he's like, talking, and he was like, my dad was a drinker, right? And it was normal for him to go come home and be drunk, right? And so he would, I guess, beat up on his mom.
And then one night,
Yep.
When that happened, Julian took the scissors and stabbed him in
The
the
leg.
thigh.
Yeah, the leg.
So chicken
So
tacos.
yeah, and everybody's
with
like,
the scissors.
yeah, and everybody's like, okay, that's not weird. And everybody eats it, doesn't really think much of it. But they serve it. Here's an interesting thing: they serve it with wraps, right? And so the tortilla wraps they bring out are like 3D engraved. I think they're engraved with some design, and
But everybody's is different.
everybody's is different.
It's like a moment of their life or something.
It's like a bad
It's
part.
it's some like guys tax fraud or something.
The three guys, they did they are involved in some scandal,
Yeah.
financial scandal.
The other one is like a
The one actor is a poster of his old movie.
yeah.
Yeah, and the older lady, the food critic, is
It's like a
all
building
the
that
restaurants
closed down.
All the restaurants she closed down,
Yeah.
correct. And then the other two, the older couple that's been there multiple times before, it's him. This old guy is a really bad person, and it's him cheating on his wife, and she's like, "Who's that?" Blah, blah, blah. And this whole time, this old guy is looking at Margot, and kind of so he gets up and switches places with his wife, so he doesn't have to look at her. They don't have to look at each other, and so, yeah.
And yeah, it's just basically every dish that comes out, it gets crazier. The plot advances. It's really interesting. It just gets crazier. And as the audience, you're just sitting here as long with the rest of the people in the restaurant. Like, what is going on? This is weird. This isn't right.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, probably the most shocking moment.
This is where it just completely turns.
Yeah.
So, I can't think of his name. I want to say it starts with a J. Josh, maybe, I don't know. One of the chefs. The course is called the mess.
Yeah, the mess.
And what they do, they roll out this big white like tapestry tarp.
Like,
Yeah, and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, you're just gonna think it's another one of those weird meals. And the chef just like lays into Jeremy, I think is his name is. Sorry if I got loud there, Jeremy. And yeah, he just lays into Jeremy. He's like, you want to be me? He's like, but you'll never be as good as me.
yeah,
and he starts crying.
He gives a whole speech about living up to standards and nothing will ever be perfect or whatever. So
yeah, and he starts. You just see the performance from Jeremy is great. Very small part, but very great. He starts tearing up and crying.
Mm-hmm.
And after he gets done with the thing, after he gets done with the speech or whatever, Jeremy pulls a gun out and shoots himself in the mouth.
Yeah,
he puts the gun in the mouth and shoots himself. And this is just where it takes a completely other turn.
Everybody is like, just like freaking out, like what just happened? We need an ambulance or whatever. And Julian, the main chef, he's like, no, everybody calm down. This is a part of the dinner, a part of the experience or whatever.
Yeah, no,
it's if I saw that, like,
yeah, there's some people who thought it was a show. Most of the people were like,
that's right.
Most of the people were like, yeah, most people were like, oh my God, what is going on? Tyler, of course, the guy, the foodie,
Mark, was all in.
He was still eating.
Yeah,
he didn't give a shit, and everybody's like, oh my God. And then there was I think one of the food critic, I think, was like, oh, it's part of the show, blah blah blah, and yeah, so that happens, and it just the mood switches.
Yeah,
and then every course after that just becomes a little bit darker, and then the chef and Margot had this weird relationship between them. The chef, as multiple times has came up to her and been like, why haven't you ate your food?
Yeah, why haven't you ate your food?
Yeah, why haven't you eating? And she's like, I'm not that hungry, or whatever. And she's like, or when he brought the breadless plate out, he's like, why aren't you eating? She's like, there's no bread. She's like, what am I supposed to eat? And she excuses herself in the bathroom after her and Tyler get into it, and she smokes out the window, and the chef comes in very weirdly, and he goes, really, what's wrong? Why aren't you eating? And she was like, I'm very capable of knowing or whatever when I am and when I'm not hungry. And he was like, I mean, I know Margot. I've served Margot's. You're not a Margot.
Yeah.
And that's where we're kind of like, you're like, what? Maybe, I don't know. It really just comes in the back of your mind. He's like, you're no Margot. I was like, okay. She's like, my name is Margot, and whatever, and storms out. Mm-hmm. And they go back to the regular place, and then the next course comes out, which I forgot what it was. I want to say it was like fish on the rock, like very like fish, like I don't remember that much, but
yeah. But no, he's not used to people
not eating.
So like he takes it really offensively.
Yeah, and
it's like this is his life,
And at one point, she's like, I'm trying not to eat too much so I don't get full. He was like, you can't do that. He was like, I've portioned it out enough to where you won't get full.
Like he mathematically has everything
to a plan.
Out. Yeah,
a pure perfectionist.
Exactly.
Yeah, his obsession with it.
It's supposed to be perfect, along with all the courses, appetizer, and desserts. Yes. So it's supposed to get you the right amount of full. And
you go, it's very disturbing.
I mean, yeah, like it. The whole part where he, they roll out the tarp. I was like, oh, I know something.
I personally didn't see it coming.
I saw it coming. I don't want to be. I don't want to be
you
like,
told me.
Like, I saw that. But like, I knew something was about to happen. I didn't know he was about to,
shoot himself.
Shoot himself. But when that happened, I was just like jaw dropped. Like,
no, I was not expecting it. I remember I sat there with my jaw like glued to the floor just like for like 5 minutes. I thought it was crazy. I thought they did such a good job, the filmmakers, at getting that build up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything slowly but starts. Everything slowly just starts to become like chaotic.
Would you call it a slow burn?
No, I feel like it's paced. I feel like it's paced
think so,
very
too.
well. Honestly,
I agree.
some people might think it is. Maybe the first 30 minutes ish are kind of it builds, but you have to do that. You know what I'm saying? The first 30 minutes kind of just putting you in the setting, putting you in the environment, showing the characters off and whatnot. But I think it does a very good job at the pace.
I agree.
Then so back to the story a little bit. They go through the next few courses, and again, the chef and Margot have this weird relationship.
She's still not
eating,
and he's taking it offensively.
Yeah,
and
I think she's eating it just to spite him and Tyler, because Tyler at this point is just if you'll see the movie, he just becomes a douche. You know, he just becomes just like not cocky. I'm trying to think of the word. He's just all about the food and doesn't really care about anything else, right? And he insults Margot.
Yeah,
like
because she's not enjoying what he likes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because this is like his whole thing is about the experience, the food, whatever. This is Chef Julian.
He's kind of pretentious and like kind of
exactly.
like, oh, this has certain things in it, certain foods, and certain nutrients. And he's like just all about it. And the chef's kind of just blowing him off because he's just like ignoring him. He doesn't really care about him. The only really person he cares about is Margot. And he brings Margot back to the kitchen. And he was like, "You weren't supposed to be here." Right? So I forgot to mention, early in the story, whenever the ladies handing out their stuff, their cards and the reservations, Tyler was actually supposed to bring somebody else.
Yes.
Another person. But I guess they broke up. So he invited Margot. And so I guess the chef wasn't prepared for that. He knew all the people and he knew everybody. So her being there kind of just threw a wrench in the plan. And he brings her back to the kitchen. He was like, "You're not supposed to be here." And then at this point, everybody's kind of like, "Are we all going to die?" And he's kind of like, "Yes."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yes, that's how it's got to end." And so that's the course. That's the perfect meal. And he brings her to the back, and he's like, "You want to be one of us when you die, or one of them?" And so he gives her an opportunity,
an option, basically. What about the whole part where
they go outside?
Yeah,
I love that part. It's very comic relief.
That's another thing about this film. There are some funny parts. It's like dark humor.
Yes, but very dark humor.
It's funny. I mean,
yeah. So the part we're talking about. So this course kind of takes place. It's not really a course. It takes place outside. So they walk out, and I got to keep in mind they're on an island. There's no really escaping, right? Unless they can get to a boat, which is kind of which one guy does, but it's like a little sail. It's like a little like rowboat, so he doesn't get far. So what he does another story with another chef, and this chef's a woman, and she's the one that actually does the talking, and she's like, "Chef tried to have sex with me multiple times, and I put him off," and then she stabs him in the nuts with scissors or a knife, or it might have been his thigh, but I think it was his nuts. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just laughing because he just takes it. And so he takes it and he's like, "All right, I'm giving you a chance to escape." And so it's only the men that get to escape. All the women have to stay there. So at that time, all the men start running. Right? They're like, "I'll come back for you." And they start running. Tyler doesn't. Tyler stays there until the chef's like, "You too." And so he goes and he doesn't really hide. He kind of just walks around. But it's funny because you see everybody hide, and then the other chefs, they get a 45-second start to go run, and then the chef claps his hands, and then everybody else, all the other chefs go and try to get him, and eventually they do. And then some funny sequences. One dude's in a chicken coop. One dude's he's very old and he's just not that fast. One dude gets a cramp and and one dude gets a rowboat and tries to go out, but they get him. But Tyler,
because at this point people are also trying to escape. Because they were talking about like, let's make a run for it, like let's get past these guards and get through the door and then we'll be good. But that doesn't happen.
Never pans out. Yeah.
But then there comes to a point where somebody has a phone. And they contact, and they're like, "We're all trapped here. We're all hostage."
It's when Margot goes into the chef's house.
Yes.
The chef allows her to go into the house.
Yeah.
Or no, he doesn't let her go in the house. He gives her the keys, and she finds the key to go to her house. Which at that point she also kills the chef's assistant. After they kind of have a little fight, but she goes to his room. It's a very important part. She goes to his room, and his living room in his house actually is set up just like the restaurant, like tables, the kitchen's in there. It's set up just like it. And so she's like, okay, and then she's like, this guy must really live and do it, like, to be a chef, and it must be his thing. And so she goes to his room, or the Silver Doors, I think it was called, and she goes in there, and what's in there, I guess, is his room. I think it's his room, and it has these plaques of like employees of the month, and we find out the chef worked
used to be like a burger flipper.
Yeah,
like, it looked like some old school like burger joint.
Yeah,
like
just a regular employee.
Yeah.
But he won employee of the month, and she sees that. It's like, I think maybe like they put on the thing like best burger or whatever, and she sees that. But then she sees like a radio, and she goes over to it and tries to like hey, we're stuck. Come help us. And so she comes back to the restaurant, kicks over the dessert that she was supposed to get, and so they sit there and wait. They're kind of just waiting for their inevitable deaths. And this guy comes, I guess, the lifeguard or life coast guard.
Some like National Guard looking guy comes up and tries to save everybody. Everybody is like giving hints and messages like, hey, we are being held hostage or whatever. Like, this is not normal. Like, people have died or whatever. Like, giving these hints to the guy while he's aiming a gun at Chef Julian, and then...
Well, one of the cool parts, I'm sorry to interrupt you, one of the cool parts is the old actor, the guy comes in, the soldier comes in, or cop comes in, and he's like, oh, he recognizes the actor. He's like, oh, I'm a big fan. And the chef's like, you want an autograph? He'll give you an autograph. And he goes over there, gets an autograph. But instead of giving his autograph, he writes, help us. I think it was like, help us, or we're in danger, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he walks a few feet and opens it and reads it, and then he pulls the gun out.
Right, and then at that point, that's when he's pointing the gun at the chef, and he's like, what is going on here? And the chef is just like, we're just having a fine 5-course meal, getting ready for our dessert or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it turns out that whole thing was planned.
Yes.
That was...
He's in on it.
He's in on it. That was a part of...
The gun turns out to be a lighter.
Exactly. That was another part of the experience, if you will, of the menu. And that freaked everybody out even more. Yeah. Everybody... Like, at that point, when they found out that he was in on it, they're like, oh, we're so dead.
We're fucked.
Like, there's nothing we can do now. But then... I don't think we talked about Margot getting to her cheeseburger yet.
We haven't got to that point, but one of the funniest parts, probably the funniest part of the movie, I think, or the funniest bits, is after everything's happened, everybody's dying. Like, there's people's died, people's got their fingers cut off.
Yeah.
The 3 guys, I guess 2 of them told the chef that it was this guy's birthday. They bring out this thing. He's like, yo, told him it was my birthday. He's like, it would have been funny if it was 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
It was one of the funniest parts of the movie.
Yeah. I forgot
Ralph Fiennes was like, happy birthday. This cake. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. But yeah, you want to talk about the...
You know what? That kind of brings up an interesting point. If they know all these background stuff about these people, you think they would know their birthday, right? So why would they bring out a...
I figured to come across. Yeah, it probably would. So, yeah, a little flaw in your plan, chef.
Yeah.
Little flaw. Margot wasn't the only thing.
Like, if you know about these guys' tax frauds and whatever scandal that they're in, like you were saying, they know their names.
Yeah.
They have... Surely they know their birthday.
Yeah. So, what we find out about Margot, I forgot. So, the chef brings Margot into his office. And they kind of talk and figure each other out. And he's like, really, Margot, who are you? She's like, I think her name's Erin. I want to say Erin. Could be wrong. Don't quote me on it. I think it's Erin. and she's like, I'm a what's it called, sex worker
Oh, yeah.
or whatnot.
I'm pretty sure she's
Yeah, and she
along
knows
those lines.
the older couple that's there. She knows the guy and has done stuff for him,
That's
and
why he
that's
kept
how they
looking
know
at
each
her.
other. Yeah, and she was just trying to make a buck, and I guess Tyler needed some because the restaurant only takes multiple people or couples or dates or whatever. You can't just go by yourself. And so I guess he hires Aaron or Margot as a escort, and brings her along. And he knows they're gonna die, because in the I guess the email or thing they sent, it literally Tyler reveals, he says, "You will die at the end" or something like that.
Yeah.
It's something stupid, and it's just and then she, of course, Margot gets so mad, and then this is when the chef, or I don't know at this point exactly, but the chef at some point, chef brings Tyler to cook his own meal.
And at that point, Tyler's like freaking out
That's
while
one
he's
of the
doing
courses,
it.
yes.
You know, he's nervous because he's trying to impress the chef. Like the whole movie, he's trying to get on the good side of
He
the
doesn't
chef.
care what the hell's going on around him.
Yeah,
It's about the food and the chef
right.
for him.
And when he's doing that, it's intense. It's suspenseful, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, because every single thing, like he's
He's not good at it.
I mean, he's
He
not
knows like what needs to go into it, but he doesn't know how to.
but like every single thing that he does, the chef is like, "You need a little bit more of this," or like,
Yeah,
uh,
like steadily just tell him he's wrong,
yeah,
and that becomes a course. I think it's like Tyler's like
Tyler's dish or something.
uncooked salmon or like lamb or something like that, and everybody eats it, and he's just not good. And then the chef, after everybody's like, "Oh, this is bad," the chef goes up and whispers to him something, and this is when we find out Tyler goes and hangs himself.
Yeah. Another really shocking moment.
You don't. They don't show it obviously, him hanging himself, but it does show him his feet hanging as Margot walks by the frame one time.
You know what's happening. I mean, yeah. What was your reaction when that happened?
I mean, I figured that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
After I saw the whole Jeremy thing, where he shoots himself, I was like, okay, this is gonna. And then Tyler he had it coming. Chef didn't like him at all.
Yeah. There was no way he wasn't gonna have something happen.
And he just knew he was bad, and so yeah, I figured it was coming. I didn't know how, but hanging himself. After I saw that, I was just like, dang. I expected it, but it was kind of just like I assumed it was gonna happen.
I knew something like that was gonna happen. I thought the chef was just gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Or something, or like
the chef had
chop him up, put him in the dish. Like actually,
the chef technically didn't murder anybody.
No.
No, he didn't. No, at least not yet. Yeah, he didn't really physically murder anybody. No. But the whole thing. So back to the cheeseburger thing. You want to talk about the cheeseburger thing?
So yeah, like Hunter said, the chef is getting fed up with Margot, like not eating, whatever. That like they've been going back and forth a bunch of times. He's like, "What do you want to eat? What would you like to have?"
I'm still hungry.
Yeah, I'm still hungry. What do you want then?
Oh, she sends the plate back, and he's like, "What?"
Yes, that's why. Because they know that's you're really like it's like an unspoken rule. You're not allowed to send the plate back.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So she remembers like used to be a burger boy, flipping burgers, and he looked happy in the pictures though.
Yeah,
like since he's become this world famous, highly acclaimed chef. He doesn't look happy. Like he's not.
And he mentions it whenever he's talking to Margot in his office. He's like, "I haven't cooked for the pleasure or just the fun of it in quite a while."
So that's why she's like a good old fashioned traditional cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And he's
kind of stumped. He's like, "Okay."
Yeah, like I don't think he was expecting that to come. To happen, basically, and he's making the cheeseburger, and he's kind of like sadistically smiling.
It's this, it's like this montage of him cooking it, but he's just smiles on his face because he's enjoying cooking now.
Right. It's probably like bringing back memories for him, and when times were simpler, just cheeseburger.
Where everything made sense and everything was simple like you said. And so he brings her out the burger and she takes a bite and she likes it. Right? And she's like, "Okay, I'm full. Can I have a box to go?" He brings her a box and a gift bag.
Yeah.
And he says, "You can leave." So Margot gets up and leaves and runs to but he's like set her free basically. So she runs to the ship, the boat, I guess, to get away. So she's on to trying to figure out how to get it started. She eventually does. And this is where like I said, everybody knows it's inevitable. They're gonna die, right? And so they're all just trying to come to terms with it. And this is when dessert happens. Which, you want to tell them about the dessert?
I mean, the dessert.
It was s'mores.
Yeah,
so,
it was just s'mores.
A very A24 ending. So what he does, he has this very, very grand speech like he always does, and he's like, to end it on it's like apparently to him it's like the disgrace of food is a s'more.
Yeah, he talks about, the graham cracker, the chocolate, and the marshmallow.
Yeah, I was just like basic.
Yeah, like you were saying that the disgrace of food.
Yeah, and what he does, some of the chefs go around. They put this cape of marshmallows on everybody, right? And it's this cool little montage. They put these capes of marshmallows on it. Looks like kind of like a bib a little bit too, and they put these chocolate crowns or caps on their heads.
Yeah,
and they're tossing around. It looks like sauce, like chocolate sauce, maybe. I don't know, just different kind of things. It maybe been gasoline. And,
probably. Yeah. Chocolate infused gasoline.
Yeah. And the chef goes to the middle of the restaurant, says his final thing, and
sets the whole place on fire.
Sets himself on fire, and then eventually everybody else catches on fire. You just watch it burn. Very A24-esque ending.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, I can't believe this is an A24 movie. That's that was one of the first things I said. I was like, this. It reminds me of the way I was shot, the atmosphere, the score, just the whole tone of the movie. I was like, this is like Hereditary and all those other movies, which I'm a huge fan of A24, and we've said that multiple times before.
It's the new horror.
Dude, they're awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a new company coming out. I can't think who the Affinity Pools.
Neon,
yeah.
They're pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Affinity Pool is different.
Mm-hmm. Affinity Pool, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so and then Margot's on the ship and she goes to the front. She finally gets it going. She's sailing away, and she's at the front of the boat. She's eating the burger, and she looks back and the place explodes.
Yeah.
And she takes a bite at where she's puts the burger in the box and just it ends, and you sit there just like, wow.
Yeah,
that's how I was. I don't know about you.
No, yeah,
I was just
same way.
Wow.
I think right after that happened, I texted you after the credits popped up.
I believe this movie's only an hour and a half, or maybe a little bit more, over an hour and a half. Might have to fact check me on that. Let me check. But I thought the pace was very, very great. It's a very different horror movie. I think if you're into horror, I would think you would like this. I think you should check it out at least. But if not, it's whatever.
It's an hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, it's a little over an hour and a half. It's not really much body horror. Don't expect too much from it.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's on the point of psychological, but
a little, yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. You find out everything in the movie. It doesn't really make you think that much.
No.
Now, obviously, yeah.
I would say it's if you're a fan of the A24 stuff,
check this
movie.
Out.
Please watch this movie.
Yes.
And shoot, what else was it?
Well, it doesn't really make you think that much, but after the movie, I remember I was thinking to myself, all the underlining themes of just all the fancy people and how he was just kind of making fun of them. Mm-hmm. The chef was, and
that's what I was gonna say.
And how just pretentious people.
It has a high rewatchable factor.
Yes,
it's easily rewatchable in my opinion. At least for me, I think it's great.
And every time you watch it, I feel like the past times I've watched it, I've seen it more than twice now. You just pick out little things too of filmmaking that just make it. You don't notice the first time, of course,
Right.
because you're so dived in the movie. But
Yeah.
like I said, the underlying themes of this movie, how an artist can come so obsessed with their work, so like that's all they care about.
They lose the
The fun of it. A lot of people say, once it becomes work, it's not fun. So a lot of artists
exactly.
feel that way, and I feel like this can come or be one of those situations.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But like, out of 10, I'd give it 8 or a 9. To be honest,
I believe that. Yeah, I believe I gave it an 8 or a 9.
Let me see what I gave it.
On Letterboxd, I think I gave it a 5, 4 or 5. It only goes to 5 stars.
I gave
on
you an 8
Letterboxd.
out of 10.
An 8.
Yeah,
we're talking about Anna Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and Ralph Fiennes. Great performances, of course.
Who directed the movie?
I forgot the top of my head. There's one guy. There's a lot of like duo directors now, but I don't know. They obviously didn't get nominated for any Oscars or anything.
Mark Mylod.
Yeah.
Mylod. It's like he did some Game of Thrones, a bunch of TV shows. That looks like.
So it might have been his first directorial debut. So we could be wrong on that.
I hope I said that right, but dude, I mean, it was directed very well. I thought atmosphere was great, the tone was great, the score, like you said, was awesome.
And I think in a year of horror, like 2022 was a very strong year.
Yes,
so much variety too.
Oh my,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
You had the sci-fi monster horror from Nope. You had a fun slasher from X. Pearl was kind of different.
Even Halloween Ends.
Halloween Ends, which Jackson's not that big of a fan of. I don't think it's that bad. Halloween Ends, of course, a slasher. Terrifier 2, which horror.
I mean, like
just gory.
A lot of independent filmmaking, like that had such a huge following, Terrifier, and it finally got put in main theaters. So that was really cool to see for everybody involved with the Terrifier franchise.
Yes.
Yeah,
because it went from All Hallows Eve to Terrifier to All Hallows. I think, it just seems how much Art the Clown has become like a staple.
Yeah, dude, he's
another horror icon.
Yeah, he's become
he's creepy as hell looking.
I'm trying to think, like, who else would you consider to be like? So of course you have Freddy, Jason, and then
the monsters.
The Universal monsters, Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, etc., etc. But I'd say the past couple, I don't know, Valak from The Conjuring.
Yeah. Annabelle.
Yeah, Annabelle, of course. But definitely Art the Clown is right up there. A lot of people would even say Megan now.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm a little iffy on that.
Yeah.
I'd have. Yeah.
But my top 3 of 2022 was, of course, Nope, then The Menu, and then Barbarian. Which in those 3 movies, the originality of them really stood out to me, and the creativeness from it. Very, very great filmmaking. Of course, Jordan. We're big fans of Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
With Nope, a very different movie than we don't usually see.
Dude, I loved it. If we do an episode on Nope, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Or just like a Jordan Peele episode or issue or whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
And Barbarian, Zach Cregger, which is his first movie, and if this is the director of The Menu's first movie, 2 directorial debuts, and Jordan, this is only his 3rd movie. And so, of course, they've all worked on different things, TV shows, whatnot.
Yeah.
But
Keanu.
Yeah. And those 3 movies, if you think about it, I think some of the best movies have comedic values to them. Mm-hmm. The Menu, very dark humor, right?
It is.
Dark humor. There's some funny parts. It's very dark humor. The Barbarian, the whole Justin Long sequence, I thought was hilarious when he was measuring out the house. And there's other little parts that were funny to me. And then Nope, of course, Jordan. Jordan comes from comedy. Zach Cregger comes from comedy.
Keke Palmer's also in that too.
Oh yeah.
But like your top three is the same as my top three. Nope, The Menu, and Barbarian for 2022.
Another mention though is Prey, but I don't.
Oh yes,
I love Prey.
Love Prey.
It doesn't go. There's probably like 3A and 3B for me.
Yeah.
So.
And Pearl too. I like Pearl more than X, to be honest.
I probably do too. They're both great though, and I'm excited for Maxine that comes out this year, I believe.
Yeah. I'm just curious to see where that takes us. You know.
Yeah,
Mia Goth too. She's becoming
she's great.
A new horror.
She's a screen
queen icon.
You seen Infinity Pool, which we just saw. She was
exactly
fucking great. She was in the Suspiria remake.
Yes.
She was in, of course, X, Pearl, Infinity Pool.
She'll be in Maxine. I'm sure some more awesome stuff in the future.
Yeah, and she's also mentioned, she was like, how the Oscars doesn't give enough love to horror movies.
Yeah, so she's speaking up for the genre too, which
I'm
is
assuming
awesome.
she like really like digs the genre, which is awesome. Yeah. So is Anna Taylor-Joy.
Her last name is Goth.
Yeah, so she like really absorbs the horror image.
Yeah,
and so which is very it's awesome to see now.
Yeah, because it's.
And I think
I say this a lot. I think the horror community and just the fans, the community, the love for the genre, it's really not like any other genre.
No. Well, it's really hard to pick that genre. Like, you don't see this big fan base for like rom-coms or like this big crime movies.
Yeah, like action movies. But you have like, I love Tarantino, but he's done everything.
Yeah.
I love Scorsese. I love Kubrick. Like, you just
Coen Brothers. Yeah,
but then you just say I love horror.
Yeah.
It's different. Mm-hmm. I don't really know how to explain it.
And the good thing is horror. Like, I feel like a lot of horror movies, if it's done correctly and done right,
it can be every single.
It can be every genre.
That's what I'm saying.
And I think that's what really.
I think horror is like the only genre that can do that.
Yeah, and I've mentioned it before. I think on your channel about how horror, like, there's a brighter side to horror. It brought me and you together a lot closer, like we've mentioned. And there's such a big fan base, and it's not like you said. It's not like any other.
It's really
not. There's not really much gatekeeping. Everybody wants you to see everything.
Like, dude, have you seen this? No. You gotta check it out.
Check it out. Yeah. But there's the group and the community, and it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and that's kind of why we wanted to start to back up the podcast. If we felt like it would elevate your channel, to get you more people to reach out to, or we could reach out to you. Podcast. I believe I want to say I'm going to start a YouTube channel here soon, so I'm excited for that. It's gonna be a little different. I'm excited to venture into that journey. Creatively. Yeah. The creative my endeavors. I'm excited. There's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be film or quality.
Still working on some projects.
Yeah. What's Horror Gang working on coming up?
Okay, good question. Thank you for the question. Hunter, my good friend. Well, as some people are aware, we're still working on our short film. We had a couple delays. I know you got COVID.
The weather. It's just been
I mean,
work. It's just it's just not working right now. We're gonna get it.
Yeah. Very excited to finish that off. Hopefully, you're gonna start writing others stuff as well, but for the channel personally, at some point we're gonna do Bat Month. I'm a huge DC,
which I'm really excited for because I love Batman.
I'm a huge DC
my
Batman
favorite superhero
fan. Yeah, me too. So I'm gonna review all the movies, just do other miscellaneous Batman, like reviewing the Blu-ray set, best Batman stories, just all things Batman. I've been trying to work on some new new movie reviews of some which
I'm really excited for because I think we out of Infinity Pool, Knock at the Cabin, you've done. I don't know if you've done Knock at the Cabin yet.
I'm working on it right now as we speak.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I think you should venture. I keep saying that. You should do all the horror movies that come out this year.
Yeah. That's what I'm definitely going to try to do.
If you would have done that last year, it would have been like really great.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're in good hands this year.
Yes.
So far.
And another one that it's probably made my top 10 now, to be honest. The Pale Blue Eye by Christian Bale.
I need to watch that.
Dude, and it's about
Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe is kind of like...
Is that considered 2022 or 2023?
2022.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure, but I will go... If it's not, it's in my...
Because there's some things it's weird. It's like released in like 2022, but then it don't get like a... But Pale Blue Eye didn't get a theatrical release. It's just Netflix.
It was on Netflix, and holy crap. I texted you about it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw it, I did a review on it, but I did that. Infinity Pool. Knock at the Cabin is coming. We just checked that out the other night.
Mm-hmm. Which is... It was fun. It was pretty good.
I really enjoyed it.
Not, M. Night Shyamalan's movie.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Bautista, coming off, WWE and everything. Kind of put that aside now. Out of, when you think of like three wrestlers like John Cena, The Rock, and Batista, like three actors that came from wrestling to, acting. John Cena's done his thing as Peacemaker and all these other movies. He's
The
great.
Rock has done
The Rock is The Rock.
Yeah.
The weird thing about The Rock, though, I like The Rock, but I feel like every movie I watch with him in it, it's just The Rock.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe him as anything else.
Yeah.
And so, but the Batista, I think out of the three, is just like the most dynamic.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that.
He's definitely...
Being Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I'm saying?
I wish, dude, they just let him play Bane one time. DC, Warner Brothers did something. Because he talked about it. He really pushed for it to be Bane. And that would have been so perfect, I feel like.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. He was great in Knock at the Cabin.
Yes. And it's not your typical M. Night Shyamalan movie. Yeah, of course, there's twists and turns, you don't know who to believe. But it's pretty, ends up being pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's a really story about love and,
Yeah, what would you...
A little dark...
What would you do?
Undertones about, life and reality. Which is,
But so, yeah, good question.
Which is another thing about
what are you working on?
Like I said, I'm hopefully gonna start up this YouTube channel. I got a good idea for a first video, which I'm pretty excited about. I think it's gonna be great. I have been a part of your channel for so long, and as much as I love it, I'm ready to do my own thing. And also, we all, we're gonna have this, and so this podcast, An Evening with Darkness. I think you called it With Darkness. I think it's Of Darkness. But yeah, I'm excited for that, to keep doing this, the podcast. We're really excited for. Hopefully this does good. We're going to keep doing it regardless, though. Yeah, again, the YouTube channel, I'm excited for. And then, of course, the short film.
Yeah. Yeah, I got... Oh, another thing to mention. I got tons of cool stuff coming on the channel. And, you're always a big help whenever you come on. Live streams, helped out with Monstober, other things here and there. Yeah, I mean, honor, I appreciate that. But talking with a few people, gonna have the director of Sharknado come on soon. I was just chatting with him the other day.
On the live stream?
Well, he was on the live stream, but then we were talking...
Messaging directly.
Messaging, and then he'll be on at some point in the future. Hopefully some bigger YouTubers, too, and yeah, I guess that could be pretty much.
I kind of want to get into that too, where we interview other people. We did a while ago on your live streams. We did with Brandon from I Like Scary. Want to play
Nightmare Corner,
Helvington.
Yeah.
And then Nathan Thomas Milliner. Those guys are great. The other horror YouTubers, great. Good collabs. I want to get to the point where we can, interview people that have been a part of the industry before, the horror.
Yeah.
Or people that have just known in the horror industry. You know what I'm saying? So that's a goal of mine too. But yeah, I think this was an awesome first episode for I know An Evening of Darkness. An Evening of Darkness. I know a little bit. Yeah, I know a little. We tailed off a little bit from the menu, but last thought. You want to give your last thoughts on the menu? Go check it out. I love it. Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Again, we're just telling you how we feel about it. Of course, we're not telling you it's the best movie ever made. You make your own opinion about it. That's the great thing about them. Everybody has them. Make your own opinion. Exactly. My personal opinion, I really love the movie. I thought it was a great, addition to the horror genre.
Yeah.
Addition to the 2022
It was
horror
my
movies.
second favorite.
Yeah, like we keep
of 2022, and that was a
beating it
great
in your
year.
brain. Exactly.
I
Great,
loved it. I loved it though.
great performances, not only from Anna Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, and Ralph Fiennes, but everybody else that was involved in it.
Yeah.
Great filmmaking, and like I said, if you like you mentioned, A24. If you're a fan of A24, check this one out. If you're a fan of horror, watch it. Give it a chance. It's on HBO Max right now. It's streaming. It's only like an hour, a little over an hour and a half.
If you like
it's an easy watch.
If you like physical media, get the Blu-ray.
Yeah, get the Blu-ray for sure. Support physical media. I will say that though, because it's a dying breed.
Yeah,
it's because streaming's great, but
it is.
We're big physical media guys. But yeah, The Menu from 2022. Everybody check that out. So that it's been our first episode issue.
Thank you for listening, of course, and the support. I can't thank you all enough, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And this has been an episode of The Evening of Darkness.